Hi guys, welcome back to Jay's Kitchen. So today I'm going to be making a dessert. So it's called Basbousa. So for many of you might be familiar with this dish. It's an Egyptian semolina cake. So it's made from semolina flour. So it's called Basbousa. It's very famous in Middle Eastern countries and it's very tasty, very sweet. So I wouldn't call it a cake. It's more of like a dessert, like the Indians call kesari. So it's more like kesari, but it's really tasty. So I've made it a few times and it's been a great hit in my house. So I would like to share the way I make basbousa, a very simple dish. So there are many variations of dishes on how you make basbousa. Some use flour, some use eggs, some adding the coconut inside. So I'm making a very authentic, simple basbousa recipe. So once we make the cake, and I'm going to be garnishing the coconut and almond slivers on top of the cake. So let's see what the ingredients we need to make this basbousa. So I have here the ingredients. So I have, of course, semolina here, and I've got baking powder, plain yogurt, sugar. We'll be using lots of sugar. We'll be using sugar in the batter and also to make the syrup towards the end. And then the sugar, cinnamon stick here. We're using one cinnamon stick, and also some lemon juice will be used in making the syrup, which we'll be pouring later. And then I've got here one stick, which is about half cup of butter, unsalted butter, and I'm going to be using 2 tablespoons extra to actually pour it into the pan so that the cake doesn't stick. So about 2 tablespoons from here and 1 whole stick, which is about half cup of butter. And then of course for our garnishing we have almond slivers and also grated coconut. So firstly let's prep the pan and then we can start making the batter. So I've got my ingredients prepped here. So basically for the sugar we have for the sugar syrup we have 1 cup of sugar. If you like it even more sweeter you can add another half cup, but I think 1 cup should be just fine. You don't want it to be too sweet. And then about 1/4 teaspoon of lemon juice, 1 cinnamon stick. And then for a batter, as I forgot to mention earlier, we need about 1/3 cup of milk, just plain milk. And then of course I have my butter here which I've melted, so 1 whole stick of butter, which is about half cup, and also extra 2 tablespoons so of butter which I've melted, and then 1 cup of sugar which I'll be adding into the batter, and then of course 2 cups of semolina, and then about 1 cup of yogurt, plain yogurt, and we're going to be using 1 teaspoon of baking powder. So let's start baking it. So I have my pan here, 9 by 9 inch pan. So what I'm going to do is initially I'm going to take in a little bit of the butter that I've melted, and we're going to generously cover it to make sure that the whole pan has butter. You're going to butter the whole pan so that when when you're taking it out it doesn't stick to it. You can always use a parchment paper, but I kind of don't prefer it that much because we're going to pour in the syrup and it's going to soak in for about an hour after we pour in the syrup. So you kind of want it to be like, just butter the whole thing. Make sure you've got butter everywhere. Okay, so once we're done with buttering the pan, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with the batter. So I have a round bowl here with a whisk, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to first add in my sugar and also my yogurt. So let's grab our sugar here. I'm going to add in my sugar, and then I'm going to add in the yogurt, just 1 cup of yogurt, 1 cup of sugar. So I'm going to make sure that I got all my yogurt inside. The yogurt is actually going to make the semolina cake very nice and moist. So let's make sure we got everything inside. Okay. And then we're going to give it a nice mix. Make sure we got everything mixed together. Okay. So keep mixing it till it's well combined before we add in the other ingredients. So after mixing it, as you can see, it's already liquidy. So once mixing it, we're going to add in the semolina, the 1 cup of semolina. It's a lot. Okay. We're going to add in the milk gently, and also our 1 teaspoon of baking powder. So let's make sure we got the baking powder. Okay, let's add that. And then again, give it a nice mix gently until it well combined. So as you can see, it's all getting well combined. Make sure you got everything mixed together. Combine it. Okay, and now we're going to add in our melted butter. So adding the whole melted butter. Okay. And then gently mix it again till everything is well combined. You may have to go slow and just mix it gently. So I'm mixing it, and you're going to mix it till you make sure there's no lumps in this. So just keep mixing it a little bit, and then once you see that it's lump free, you don't want to over mix it too, so just mix it. Okay, then we're done. So what we're going to do is we're going to allow this mixture to sit for about, just mix it, and we're going to allow this mixture to sit for about a minute or so that the butter is actually fully absorbed into the batter. So that's it. And our basbousa batter is done. So just allow it to sit for a minute or so. We'll be back after about a minute. So while the basbousa is sitting for a minute or so, we are going to preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're going to allow the oven to preheat. So after sitting a little bit, so we're going to add in our basbousa batter into the pan. So make sure we got all the batter into the pan. Okay, let's get all the batter in. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we are going to level it. Make sure you are leveling it so you know when it bakes all on the same level. Yummy. Okay. So it's good. As long as you got it in a level, it's good. So that's pretty good. Close enough for the leveling. So now our basbousa will be going into the oven. So the oven has already preheated. So I'm going to put in the basbousa into the oven for 40 to 45 minutes mark. So in it goes for 40 to 45 minutes, and you might want to leave it in a little bit longer or broil it so that it has a very nice color at the top. So it's 350 degrees Fahrenheit at 40 to 45 minutes mark. So we're going to wait, and while waiting for the cake to bake, we're going to be doing the sugar syrup. So I have the pot on high heat, and I'm going to be pouring about 1 3/4 cup of water. So this is 1 cup 1 cup and 3/4 cup. Okay, and then it's on high heat, and this is where I'm going to add in the cinnamon stick and also the sugar. So we're going to boil this on high heat and dissolve the sugar and allow the syrup to thicken. We're going to go on medium heat right after all the sugar dissolves, and we're going to probably like about 5 to 10 minutes allow it to boil until it thickens, and then we're going to set it aside because we need the syrup to cool down before we actually pour it into the cake. So let's wait for it to boil, and then we're going to stir it. So as you can see, the sugar is melting, so we're going to mix it, dissolve it. Just keep mixing it till the sugar actually dissolves. Okay, so right now what we're going to do is, once the sugar dissolves, as you can see it's already dissolved fully, so I'm going to lower my heat to medium heat, and I'm going to allow the mixture to boil and thicken a little bit before we switch it off. So we're going to allow this mixture to boil. So you can see here the syrup is actually boiling on medium heat. So what we're going to do is we're going to allow this to simmer and slowly boil for about 10 minutes until the syrup actually thickens, and then we're going to switch off the heat. So right now it's shimmering on medium heat. So the syrup has been boiling for about 10 minutes. So as you can see, it's getting thicker. So we're going to allow it to boil for another 5 minutes more. We want it to be a little bit more thicker, so we'll give it another 5 minutes more. So after about another 5 minutes, as you can see, it's actually thickening. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch off the heat. Let's switch it off, and I'm going to take it off from the heat, and we're going to add in about 1/4 teaspoon of lemon juice. Okay, so give it a nice mix, and this we're going to leave it aside for it to cool down so we can pour it over the basbousa. So before we actually pour it over the basbousa cake, we're going to remove the cinnamon, but for now we're going to leave it to soak in the syrup. So after 40 minutes my cake is done, but I'm going to give it a little bit of a very brownish touch to give it some color. So I'm going to do is I'm going to broil for about 5 to 10 minutes, but I'm going to be watching it so it doesn't char it too much. So it's nicely brown in color, so we're going to remove it from the oven. Okay. So it's nicely brown, not too much, you don't want it to brown too much. A nice brownish charred color. So what we're going to do now is, while the cake is still hot, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour in my sugar syrup, which I've already removed the cinnamon. So let's make sure we pour it all around. You want it to go on everything. So let's make sure we got this sugar syrup everywhere. So we're going to pour everything right to the end. So we got all the syrup into this, and we're going to allow the basbousa to sit with the sugar syrup for almost an hour. Just let the syrup absorb into the cake. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add in my coconut. Just make sure you sprinkled it generously. Hey Google, stop timer. So you're going to get everything. So make sure you got everything generously on top with the almond slivers. So after adding in the coconut, we're going to add in the almond slivers. So let's add in generously, but make sure you got all the sides all covered with it. Oh my god, it looks so tasty, so yummy, but it will taste even better after 1 hour once the syrup actually absorbs into it. So this is my end result of my basbousa cake. So it's an Egyptian semolina cake, very tasty, very yummy. So soak this for 1 hour. After making everything and pouring in the syrup, soak it for about an hour, and it will be so tasty and so yummy. Garnish it with any nuts that you like: pistachios, cashews, coconut slices, coconut grated, anything that you like. It tastes good with everything. Thank you so much for watching how I made basbousa. So basically basbousa is an Egyptian semolina cake. So try it and let me know how it turns out. You can always adjust the consistency of your sugar. You like it more sweet, just add in extra half cup to the sugared syrup. But for me, this is just nice. So like I said, you can always adjust if you want it more or less. And then once you're done, pour the sugared syrup and leave it for about an hour so that all that syrupy, sweet syrupy thing all soaks into the cake, and it's really, really tasty. So garnish with any toppings that you want, and you can always cut it into bars or into diamond shape. So I hope you try it and drop me a comment, let me know how it turns out. So if you like my video, please give me a thumbs up. Please share it on social media and among your friends. And don't forget, if you're new to my channel and you're a new subscriber, please click the subscribe button that's below this video. And don't forget to press the notification bell so you'll always receive an email notification whenever a new video is uploaded on my YouTube channel, Humming with Mama. So till I see you in my next video, take care and have a good night.